Yes! Level 1000! We did it! It just needs to make it there. It just needs to make it there. We did it! Yes! I barely made it. Well, it finally happened. My first level 1000 character, Markus, the mother-loving Kruber. And it was on Enchanter's Lair 2 of all maps. And I gotta say, of all the characters in the Warhammer universe, Kruber is by far my favorite. Which, albeit, isn't saying much since Vermintide is the only Warhammer title I've played, despite the fact that I have Total War in my library as well. But still, my Vermintide journey began back on March 15th, 2018 when I bought the first edition of Vermintide, and quite literally, the only character I ever played was Markus Kruber. Now, fast forward about 3 months of me absolutely loving the game, despite that I only have 20 hours on it, and deciding to pick up the sequel, Vermintide 2. And loving it even more. So much more that I now have over 188 times more hours and I'm still going strong. And while it obviously is mostly because of the slam dunk execution, lore, mechanics, and replayability, I'd say that the characters themselves all have their own lore and dynamics that further immerse yourself into their universe, which is why I love this game so much. But back on topic, why do I love Markus Kruber so much? I mean, seriously, he's barely the third most played character in the whole game behind Carillion and Barden, while tied with Saltspire. Well, because I like his background and characteristics, as well as his style of combat and abilities. He's not too range-based, but has opinionatedly the best melee weapon arsenal on hand, which is what I love to focus on in whatever games I play. He is the only character in the game of which each of his careers supply some type of buff to his allies, and I think that's really cool, because I don't mind that style of play, and it doesn't stop him from being an amazing brawler on the front lines. His mercenary is easily my most played career of the 4, and I do not hesitate to sacrifice some of my output to help out my teammates. He also is built to be very tanky and comfortable in almost any situation he finds himself in. It's always a huge morale boost to see him in a lobby, and he can bring to the table for others what they themselves cannot in a lot of regards. Then you have the Grail Knight, a more hands-off set of support abilities, but dominating horde and mixed horde control, not to mention a versatile ult ability that cuts down anything in its path. You have the Foot Knight that provides damage reduction and is arguably one of the more clutch careers in the game, especially if you equip its hero time. And then you have the Huntsman, which honestly I'm not too big a fan of, but hope one day to master nonetheless. All of these careers are unique, they mix well with his lore, and perform well in-game, making him very addicting for me to play. In fact, while we're on the subject, allow me to indulge in a pinch of nerdism with a few statistics. In total, I have 2,154 levels. Almost 6% of that is Sienna, 19% of that is Victor, 4.5% being Carillion, 23.7% Barden, and 46%, nearly half of all my games, being Markus Kruber. I could even go deeper and give you the rough estimates for which career I've played the most from each character. But aside from ability and mechanics, what's even more addicting is his charm and personality. He's a diligent, inspiring, keen-eyed soldier of the Empire, starting from humble origins as a simple farm boy. He went through his fair shares of tragedy and travel, giving him a cultural and insightful side, but also one who wants to protect those around him, hence the 4 career support thing. But on a more down-to-earth level, he's funny, light, curious, a little on the dumb side, and my personal favorite, awkward as heck.
You seem a bit quieter of late, Elf.
Not that I'm complaining, you understand. Or you're all that I want you to be quiet.
Relax, Mayfly. No offense was taken. I've had bad dreams of late, that's all. A common affliction amongst my kind.
Yeah? I know what you mean. A couple of nights ago, I had this one with a giant squig, a jug of lamp oil, and Volkmar the Grim, and I was naked, too.
I confess that does sound terrifying. At least to any witnesses.
Well, no need to be snippy. It put me right out of sorts, it did.
Would you prefer mine? With the pale queen and the mid-eye? And the dying flame? Ugh, you know nothing of bad dreams, Kruber. Sergeant, you're staring.
Sorry, I've never been this close to an elk before. Fought in the same field as a few, but that's all.
And do I disappoint? Were you expecting something more otherworldly, of shimmering lights and soothing song?
Well, that's not for me to say, but your eyes are harder than I'd have reckoned.
They have seen much. More than they should, perhaps.
I love this guy. He was there when I beat Fortunes of War on Legend, he was there when I beat Kata, and he'll continue to be there until the end of time. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to the Fat Shark team for making such an amazing career. Later, peoples!